Hi, today we're going to do a quick lesson on um, our social studies. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up these slides. And our supply and demand and scarcity. So, scarcity, this definition of scarcity is when there's not enough of something for everyone to buy. And I know we talked about this a little bit before we left school. We were talking about the scarcity of items that were happening, like soap and toilet paper. So, if there's a scarcity of water, for instance, a natural resource, it's going to affect other areas like our crops and washing our cars and other things. So, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in this lesson. But an example of scarcity during our coronavirus, we've had a scarcity of masks, we've had a scarcity of medical equipment, toilet paper, paper towels. These items, the toilet paper and paper towels, we have manufacturers are still making them, but there was a demand on those, so there's a scarcity in the stores. And of course, hand sanitizers, we're using it. The medical community is using it as well, so there is a scarcity of that. Other people are trying to make those and help out. There could be a scarcity during a hurricane. So, sandbags, people are using sandbags to help protect their homes and keep from flooding. Plywood is used. There'll be a scarcity, a run on plywood right before the hurricane comes. They want to protect their windows, protect their buildings of their homes and their businesses. Clean water will be a scarcity once the hurricane is hit and there's a flood and there's an overflow of water and it turns into dirty water. They can't clean it quick enough. And electricity, if the power has been knocked down, the power lines, then you'll have a scarcity of electricity. We could also have a scarcity during a drought, which is the water, the crops are going to die. And so we're not going to have enough fresh food for us to buy in the stores. So, supply. The definition is the quantity or the amount available. So, you have your little supply chain here, and talking about where the materials come from. It's going to be sent to the supplier. They're going to make or manufacture those, and then they're going to distribute by trucks, take them to the stores, and then it will go to the customer. So that's just a quick little lesson. But you can have a large supply, like right now we have a large supply of gas and fresh food. People are buying canned food instead of fresh food, and we have a low supply on mask kits. The masks themselves, so people are trying to make some, but then we have a low supply on elastic. And then, of course, like gloves. And those are just some examples. So, when there is a lot of supply, you can find that item in the many different stores. And if there is a low supply where we have a high demand of something and a low supply, then it's going to be hard to find those items like we have seen recently. So, speaking of demand, the quantity or the amount that consumers like us that are buying things. So this is just a big formula of how they decide on the supply and demand. But right here is a good picture of you have an item, and when there's a lot of demand, a lot of people wanting it, and there's not very much there. So some examples of demand. We have a large demand right now for Clark's wipes, masks, hand sanitizers. We've got long lines in stores for people buying those things. And then we have a low demand on soccer lessons and people going to the museums because they're closed, or travel. People do not want to travel. They want to stay home and stay safe because there's different areas that might have the virus. So, what if the demand is high? So, if there is a high demand, the prices could go up. So, yes, you could see a little bit of an increase of items that are in high demand right now. But we have things that are not in high demand, like gas, and the prices are going down. So you're going to see where if there is a high demand, prices could go up for some things. But if there's a low demand on things, like right now, people want to buy furniture. A lot of people don't have jobs; they can't buy furniture, so furniture is on sale. So those are examples of how prices can go down. Cars, the prices on cars may be going down. Or they're going to offer good incentives for buying a car, and that's going to be a lower price on things. So those are just some examples. Brain Pop Junior has a goods and services. We talked about that last year, but that lesson also talks about supply and demand and scarcity.